This is me on a Monday morning. This is my coffee machine on a Monday morning. And this is me writing in my journal all the plans I have for the week. To be honest, I am not that person who plans out all of her days in advance, but this time I had a rough idea of how I want my week to look like, and the main point was to be present and to say yes to the experiences that I come across. With that being said, this is as the first thing I had to get ready for work in my kinda messy room, but it's okay, I will clean that later. I work at a cafe slash brunch place as a waitress, which is pretty cute. I just prepare my body and my mind kind of to be in my best, most presentable self. I like to take my time with my makeup and getting ready, although I don't do anything really crazy looking, just because it really makes me feel more connected to my body and kind of stepping more into this confident character that I imagine myself to be when I step outside. My time at work went surprisingly bad. It truly felt like the universe was testing me and my patience was put on the line. But I kept my mood up and I kept my energy up, so it all went fine in the end. Then I went and got coffee for my bestie Anita. We were hanging out in the hospital as she was getting some treatments, but she's fine. She's healthy. I got her pastries as well, and we just ate and talked. And honestly, that is always enough to cheer me up and also to cheer her up. So we kind of just had the time of our life doing what we always do. We also sat in this little garden area of the hospital, which is just a very cozy place, in my opinion. And I met this cat, which I obviously had to befriend. It really made my day. It always makes my day to pet a cat. The next thing I did after was to go to a movie theater on my own to watch a movie. These were shot afterwards because I obviously don't have footage of the movie, but I was so anxious about going there on my own as I've never done that before. And I usually feel anxious going to new places alone. But it was super nice and the movie was very cute. I watched Perfect Days, which just felt like a perfect movie for this day or this entire project, kind of aligned very much with what I want to work on in my own life and kind of how I live my days. And it really made me feel more magical about the small things in life. So Tuesday was my day off, which means I slept in a bit and then I made myself a cozy little breakfast. Took my time, my sweet, sweet time eating it because I can be a very slow eater. But it felt kind of nice to put my phone down as it was recording. I couldn't watch YouTube while I ate, so I just had to look at the birds and look at the trees. Here I was struggling with the last bites as I made quite a big portion. Next, I cleaned my room. Yay! That was very, very much needed. It was very much due. And I also did laundry and some other cleaning around the house. I was also chatting to our neighbor through the balcony because she came over earlier that day to look at the plants you can see on the terrace table. She gave us those plants, and I showed her how pretty they are blooming. So that was a very cute moment. For my afternoon, I lit an incense. I made myself my favorite tea, and I put my phone on Do Not Disturb to really just be present and be with myself for a moment. My intention was to connect more, or rather, reconnect with my creativity. I've been feeling a bit at loss of creative energies, so I wanted to meditate mostly on that, journaling whatever comes up and drawing whatever my hands want to draw, and read a bit for inspiration. I also sat in meditation for roughly an hour in complete silence, which I was very proud of myself for, but definitely a lot of things came up that I felt and still feel a need to reflect on and let it sink in. Wednesday turned out to be the worst day of the week. I can't even explain why. Sometimes you just wake up like that and nothing seems to be right and nothing seems to be going in the good direction for you. I felt like that, and it was not a day I really wanted to document, so I don't have any recordings. But I survived. By the end, it got better because I went to visit Anita again, and she made it better. So, shout out to Anita. I love you, girl. Thursday, however, was definitely the highlight of my entire week. I knew it from the moment I planned it because it was the first time I went on a hike on my own. So it was a very special time with just me and nature. And luckily, I had a very nice weather. So here's me first taking a little dip in the Danube River, collecting some shells and rocks to take with me as a memory, eating my little snack, and then I set off to the mountains. I picked to go this route because I wanted to be both amongst the trees, and I wanted to see some waterfalls. So there will be quite some on this way, and also very nice view from up on top of the mountains. And I'll just let the clips do the rest of the talking. After being in nature for such a long time and not speaking to a single soul and barely seeing any other people around, I thought for a moment I'm gonna go crazy, but it also just reset my entire nervous system to such a deep level. I really, really needed it. I really needed that. Arriving at the top of the mountain, I got this beautiful view where I could see the place I started my trip at all the way up there, which definitely made me very proud to look at. I gave thanks to the gods for not killing me by the time I got to the bus stop, and this is how tired I was after. And the next day, we were back in reality and back in the grind. Woke up early and got ready for work. I just had to appreciate this outfit because I finally wasn't wearing all black. Yay. Work was work, nothing very special. But then I got home, changed real quick, ate some, and I didn't really have time for anything else as I was off for the Aurora concert that we went to with Anita and some of her friends and family members. It was in this venue where I've never been before, so it was just such an experience seeing so many people at one place. I haven't been to a concert in ages, and I was so happy to be in my little Vimsy fairy outfit.
It's so important because the people, we have all the power, even though we are being told all the time that we're not, and we're being told, love you too, and we're being told that we are divided. We are being told that if we vote differently, then we are enemies, instead of being told that actually we all want the same. We're just being kind of put up against each other, and it's really sad to see how divided the world is now, because we agree much more than we think. Being one of those good people who wants good change, like everything you do is important, and I hope you feel like you don't have to give up on helping just because you can't fix the problem.
The concert was super fun. We cried and we danced and we laughed and we just had the time of our lives. But I was super duper tired, so I literally passed out as soon as I got home. And for the end of the week, I didn't do any more crazy or very interesting stuff. My parents came to visit me on Saturday afternoon, and Sunday I just woke up with the intention of really reflecting on everything that has happened throughout this week and taking all the good and letting go of all the bad. Although with many things I've done this week, I tried to push myself to my limits, to not overreact and to not overthink all the time, but to rather accept life flowing and trying to flow with it. I think that was the most important thing I've learned this week, and what I've learned by paying attention to how I feel in the present moment. And during my times in solitude, I practiced keeping my calm. Being mindful and being present is definitely a constant journey where you have to keep practicing and keep reminding yourself to focus again when you are getting caught up in life and getting caught up in the small things that don't actually matter. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, and take care.